think Claire, what was your intent with this particular document? Just trying to answer some questions. Okay. Do you want to read through it and then? Yes, is that okay?
Good afternoon, everybody. Today is December 3rd, and the Special Board of Commissioners meeting is called to order. Assistant City Clerk, please call the roll.
Commissioner Douthrop.
Present.
Commissioner Andrews.
Here.
Commissioner Weinstein.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hodges.
Here.
Mayor Black.
Present. Next item on the agenda is public comment, so I'll open the floor for public comment for anything that is not on the agenda. Public comment is now closed. Next, we have clarification on when the qualification packets are authorized by the Board of Commissioners to be distributed by the City Clerk. City Manager?
Thank you, Mayor. There were some questions that came up, which actually started with the ad that was placed in the paper involving the qualification period, which is normal. We have to publish that during certain aspects. And the question came up around the qualification, the qualification packets being distributed early from when the qualification period started. And I had done some research and had not found where it was authorized by the commission. And since there were questions coming forward, I thought it was best to forward that to the Board of Commissioners, so you can make a determination if it's an issue that you want to make a decision on or not make a decision on. But it's something that is, I guess, has never been done here before, is the understanding. I haven't been here, obviously, so I don't know how the elections were conducted before. I know this topic came up at other meetings. I also had an opportunity to talk to Mr. Brooks, who is being a special magistrate or master at some type of a hearing. So he's unavailable even by phone, because I offered to have him patched in so he could tell you firsthand. But when I explained to him that this has nothing to do with the qualification packets themselves or the qualification period, it has to deal with the documents being provided prior to the time before the qualification occurs. And he says, well, that's clearly something, if the Board of Commissioners want to make a weigh in on that, they have a right to weigh in on that. So I think you have a response from our City Clerk here. And Clara, although she's here, she's not officially here because she's not cleared from her doctor yet from her surgery, but she is here in the audience. And I can try to answer or fill in any blanks, but I think primarily it just has to do with the qualification packets. And to me, it's a relatively simple question. Do you want them to go out on the 9th, or do you want them to go out on another date or the date that the qualification period starts? And I'll turn that all over to you.
Well, before we get into that discussion, is that notice legal since it has the wrong date in there?
Yes, he said that, we have a follow-up notice that I'm not sure when it was coming in, but the deadline for the next notice where the correction was made and it gets published again was the same deadline. So he said we're covered just by the change, because it's obviously it's a simple error when you deal with different dates, but it was proofed also by the newspaper. They have a two-proof process where they go through, and they missed it as well. So it's it's common human error, I think, is what Mr. Brooks had questioned it as, but it was changed in the new advertisement, and we worked with Patty to make sure that it was modified, and I haven't seen it published as yet, so I'm not sure what the date is.
It'll be published on the 6th.
On the 6th, okay.
This Friday.
Thank you.
I have one question. I have a couple questions, but I guess the first one is on the last paragraph of the memo that we just received from City Clerk, the last paragraph on the first page, as a result, per charter and ordinance 2019-24, candidate must file with the clerk no earlier than 12/18/19 and no later than 1/17? Isn't that supposed to be 1/3? I mean, January, yeah,
It
January.
should be January 3rd.
3rd, not January 17. Yeah, on the,
If you'll continue reading, it says, however, for the March 17th, 2020 municipal election, the County Supervisor election date is January 3rd, 2020 to be the deadline for the city clerk to commence by election. That's what changed it.
okay,
That cuts it off 7 days.
what changed it? Oh, because of because of the presidential like thing from the 17th? Okay. Well, I think that I feel that there's just been some errors, I guess, in deciding what the qualification package consists of. And I think if the purpose of the qualification package is simply for learning and education for any potential candidates, it's fine like it is without including the candidate petitions in that qualifying packet, because it was my understanding that it was included in that packet. But then when I see the memo from our city clerk today, okay, that shows, I believe there's even a picture of it, okay, that says, I know it says it here because I saw it. It shows a picture of the candidate petition card. And down at the bottom, it says that will not be part of the qualifying packet, okay?
That's what's in the book. It just has that one page. They will not receive any petition forms until they actually file the DSDE-9 during the qualifying period, which explains it in the advertisement. And in the, there's another instruction page that explains that's in the book for the candidates.
Okay, now, because that is my problem with it, okay, or that was my questions with it, and I guess it is a problem that I really felt like for educational purposes, the rest of the forms are good for people to know about what they need to have and how they need
And
to
a
go to
copy
a
of
bank
that is
account.
in there.
But I don't agree that this should ever be given, because this is nothing, first of all, no qualifying packets have ever been given out before, to the best of my knowledge. I remember when I came to City Hall on December the 13th, 2017, to get my package. That was the first date of the qualifying period, and I was told that was the first day I could pick it up. I couldn't pick it up a week before. I couldn't pick it up 10 days before. December the 13th was the day, and so I did everything that day. I think it's okay to distribute informational material, okay, like the forms that, in case you have any questions, but I definitely think that the candidate petition form should not be a part of that package, I think, because I think that just, it might just encourage someone to say, oh gosh, these people are going to be out of town and I got to get their petition signed, whatever, and that's just not the right way, and that's not, I reckon, good governance. So as long as that is included.
That is in there, yes, ma'am, and I gave that to the city manager about 3 weeks ago, showed him that.
Right. And since you're here, I guess I can ask you, because I'm sure that you were here. Was there any confusion on remember when we had the discussion on, and it's okay for you to answer, even though you're not.
Yes, I'm present in the
official
audience,
capacity.
yes, ma'am. There's no-
Okay, November the 18th, remember we had that discussion quite a bit,
Right.
passing along or making qualifying packages available on November the 18th, and we decided definitely not to do that. So I guess my question is, obviously, no one did come in and even ask for any.
No, I know you had stressed concerned about people getting out there and circulating petitions and stuff. So I put that on there because as a courtesy, I wanted to put the packet out a little early because they were being cut back 7 days and then those
I
holidays.
understand, yeah.
Or 14 days, whatever, 14 days. So it's really going to be short. And
I know.
And that's a big packet. I can run and go get it. It's about 4 inches thick. And so, but I made sure that that's in there, that when they come in, during the qualifying period and they file their DSDE-9, then they'll get those petitions.
Okay, so they can come in and get the forms that they need to review and to look.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And hopefully that still gives them enough time. I mean, this only happens every 4 years. And at least we're showing some transparency there as far as getting that information out and everything. But I made sure that says on there that they will not get those until they file that DSDE-9, and made sure that in that advertisement it says that nothing gets filed until the qualifying period.
Okay, because I thank you very much for that clarification, because on the public notice, as the city manager said, and I read it 2 or 3 times, it did appear, okay, that the package certainly would consist of, that the package was complete as a candidate qualifying packet. It does not exclude the petition cards in this thing, okay? And I want to make sure it does exclude it, when you're actually giving out the package.
When they pick up that book, like when you come to pick yours up, if you come and pick it up, that's all you're going to get is that form. And they're already in there. I mean, city manager's had one on his table for 3 weeks, and I haven't been in there, and so you can go and look. It's that one paper is in there.
Okay, I do have, I guess, one other question too, is that I'm wondering why the November the 12th meeting, you did show the ordinance, but why was the qualifying packets, the dates, et cetera, the preliminary dates not shown in the ordinance? Did that not have to be shown in the ordinance?
No, the qualifying period or that doesn't get in the ordinance. You're only prescribing the manner of. You have to tell what the seats are up, about what happens in the case of a runoff, and what the polling locations are, and, your primary things. Those other stuff are in packets and advertisements.
Okay. Well, I hope that the board understands my concerns, that I just want to make sure that everybody's on the same playing level and everybody's doing the same thing. And that's why I had questioned the city manager as well, and thought we need to all just be on the same playing field.
Right.
And also the qualifying, the candidate qualifying period excludes on the municipal notice, you said December 23rd, 4th, 5th, and December the 31st and January 1st. And then on this memo that you just gave us today, it excludes the date of December the 23rd. Is there a reason for?
I have doctors that day.
Okay.
Arm. And being that I'm the qualifying officer, I won't be here that day.
Okay, because it was shown on the municipal notice.
But I'll have help here as far as accepting things and all, but they won't be able to qualify the person. Just that, 'cause I wanted to point that out, that I won't be there. They won't be qualified on those days. And I talked to the city attorney about it, and he said, make sure you put that in the advertisement. So I did. When I sent it to him, explained all that.
Okay.
Now, if you want to consider what the city attorney was talking, because each attorney every year has mirrored the same ordinance, except for changing dates and seats and all in that ordinance that prescribes the manner of holding an election and pointing out where the polling locations are. If you want to, you can have, for next year, we could put more information in there in the body of that. We can run it by the city attorney to see if we can include qualifying period dates and all that kind of stuff, and that way everything is in the ordinance for the first time. That'd be something we can talk about for the next election.
Right. Okay. Just want to be sure that we're all on the same page, and we are.
What happens if somebody collects signatures earlier than the 18th?
They, like I said, if you go back and look at, especially if you go look at the one I've laid in the city manager's room 3 weeks ago, you will not find petitions in there. Now, if somebody because they come off the state website. Now, if somebody downloads them themselves and that's out of our control.
But if they have a date on there before the 18th, what happens is what I'm asking you.
Before the
Signatures not
18th, they will not be. The supervisor of elections will not even take it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the ones that verifies the signatures. And so during the qualifying period, when they turn those in, for district commit, well, actually for all of them, we want to make sure that everybody's lives in the city and make sure they're registered voters. And for district commissioners, we have to be sure that every petition that they have signed are in the district that they are from. So, and at the same time, we check dates. If those dates are no good, we pull them out because apparently they have downloaded it from the website and run out and got their own, got them some petitions signed. You know, that's the only way we can catch it. But then if we miss one and it goes to the elections office, because I have to provide them a copy of the candidate oath and the DSDE-9 before they get started verifying the signatures, they have a team there also that watches to make sure there is nothing that's going to pass through them that predates that date.
Okay. And then they can't open a checking account until the 18th.
That is correct. It says on the DSD-9 itself that they cannot open one until that is filed with the filing officer during, you know, so that prevents that. Now, if somebody wanted to contest a person when they open up their account, they can always maybe ask that person for a copy of when they opened up their checking account or. Right. Right. Now, I do know that my understanding is dealing with a couple of banks here for the last couple of years, they will not even allow they want a copy of the DSDE-9 stamped in by the city clerk and with the seal on it. And I think you might remember that. So you can't just go open up an account. But some people try to use their same account from last year, and they're not allowed to do that. And so the banks are watching that real careful about that.
I just got a quick question, Bob. Is this the recommendation here is just to adopt I'm going to be honest, I'm a little confused. There's a lot of moving parts to this. All I can recommend to anybody that is going to think about running for office or going to run for office this term, go sit down with Clara because she'll walk you through every piece of this. You were so helpful to me, as far as opening up bank accounts and getting the proper signatures and putting the bank. Clara will spend time with you, so nobody get nervous about that. This seems like a lot, but it's really not. But I guess I'm a little confused. Does this even fall under our purview, Bob? Do we have to make a decision on this, or is this something that's state mandated?
I think you can decide just to let it go as it is.
Yeah.
There were some concerns, as I mentioned. The way that in checking with Mr. Brooks, he says it's up to the commission. If they wanted to regulate that, it's within their purview. And he, other than making sure that the qualification process doesn't occur outside of the 90 days. And if they are not being provided the forms, then, or we're not providing them the forms, then there's not much that we can do about it. So I agree that it is quite an extensive volume of information on all the election laws and what needs to be done. But like you said, Clara is a great resource for it. And so it's a testimony to, what she's doing.
As far as a streamline, Clara, look, you guys handle all the administrative aspects of this. We don't really get involved in any of that. What's going to be easiest for you guys to hold this election, get people qualified and go on? I'm certainly no expert. I think we should leave it up to these guys. They're running the whole show, and Clara's an elections official. So what do you guys want to see happen here? Because I don't think I really understand the recommendation. Adopt the second reading and public hearing ordinance 2019, 24.
Oh, if I may, I
Yeah.
think I just supplied the document that Clara had authored when the ordinance was passed, so I'm sorry for the confusion.
That's fine. No.
You know, basically, I didn't make a recommendation because it's really just up to the commission on what you all like to do in setting your policy and if that's one you want to deal with, or as you say, leave it up to the clerk to make that decision. But there was some questions that came up, and unfortunately, you all can't discuss them unless we're in a meeting. And I appreciate the fact that everybody came in and, you know, we've got a full commission to be here. And so it's really, if you feel that there's an issue, you need to address it, fine. If not, then, you know, we can adjourn the meeting and go home. I can't go home, but
Right.
you can.
I think that since the packets obviously have, like I say, to my knowledge, have never been distributed before, I think the important thing is I think it is an administrative thing, but I do think it should be called by administration, but I do think the Board of Commissioners should be advised of that in the same way they were this time, okay? Perhaps with a little bit more clarification or more questions asked, but have the opportunity to say, yes, I think that's a good idea. We should make the package available to the public on such and such a date.
Let's open it up for public comment.
I'm questioning, Helen Price, 13319 Bocasiega Avenue in the beautiful city of Madeira Beach. I'm questioning why this is just coming up now within a week of when I was hoping to get my packet. I know it's a big packet. I need to read that thing. I wanted to get it done and kind of mold around in my head before the holidays. We already have a severely shortened time period to collect these signatures and adhere to all the forms and everything that are in that packet. I personally thank the clerk very much for having the foresight to offer the packet the week before or 9 calendar days before the election so that I could start reading it and anyone else and really even decide if you want to run. I mean, it could be just so mind-boggling I don't want to, but anyway. So I thank the clerk for that. I appreciate that since I have such a limited time. I wonder why this is coming up right now. I mean, we knew that date of December 9th last month. This should have been, when I understood there was going to be some sort of a meeting today about the packet, I'm like, oh my God. This whole time I'm planning on getting it early so I can read it and understand it and get my ducks in a row. And now we have all this busy work to do when apparently all it took was a call to the clerk to say what's supposed to be in the packet or something, or just, can you clarify that the signature cards or the petitions are not going to be given to people ahead of time? Or are you going to make sure that they know that if they get, you know, any cards signed or any bank accounts opened before the 18th, that there's an issue? Now, I went ahead online and started looking at some stuff, and the law is very clear about when you can open up a bank account and when you can get your petition card signed. But if people can't do that, I mean, I'm assuming it's that same information in the packet. I don't know that, though. So anyway, I think this is something that the clerk very smartly did, and I appreciate it, and I hope I can get my packet on December 9th.
Robert Preston, 425 South Bayshore Drive, Madeira Beach. I'm just thoroughly confused about why this meeting's happening at all. I know that all of you have phones. Why can't you call and ask questions instead of calling a special meeting? It's pretty simple. You call up, you ask, what is she going to do with the packets? Do the cards go out? Whatever the case may be. If you get an answer, that's good. If you don't get the answer you like, then you need to discuss it further. But having this meeting is beyond me. It's a waste of time.
Anybody else wish to speak? Public comment is now closed.
Do we need to make a motion to accept this, or,
I think you should, yeah.
I don't understand what we're doing, but go ahead.
I think it probably would help just officially, since you're here, just to accept the recommendation of the city clerk, so she's covered and she's taking action that's within the purview that you've given her.
I'll make a motion to accept ordinance 2019